to a new episode of the Edj Whitetails. It's been a minute since we saw you. It's January 11th. Stay tuned. Last time I was out here, that was a little iced up. Took me a minute to get in there. Nothing a little WD-40 can't take care of. Welcome to this episode of the Edj Whitetails. It's been a minute since we've seen you, as I said in the opening, and we're down here today working on feeders and checking some cameras. The cold weather lately has been burning them up, so stay tuned with me here. We're going to get to work. All right, welcome back. The Edj Whitetails. It's January 11th, and it is the set-in of deer depression. It's over. It's been over for about a week for me. I had to hang it up a week ago Friday with archery coaching schedule and everything. It just didn't work out, and with work, didn't make it out about the 5th through the 10th. So here we are today down in the land, and as some of you might know, many of you might not know, in the wintertime, once I quit hunting, I run feeders throughout. I got 3 feeders throughout the property, and we run 16% protein mixed with corn in each feeder. That's also filled with antibiotics, probiotics, vitamin E, vitamin A, vitamin C, and some minerals all mixed in there for a good supplemental feed through the winter. You know, we do these food plots, the turnips, the final forage, all those good biologic by Mossy Oak products, but we also want to give them more to forage on to really get them through these cold times. We've had some sub-zero temperatures lately. Don't have any snow on the ground, but the sub-zero temperatures is enough to really put a hurt on the wildlife. I'm standing in our sorghum plot right now. This also has some final forage in there. It also has some deer radish. So they've got a lot to forage on in here. This camera that I have over this feeder, I need to adjust a little bit. The sunlight hitting the canister of the feeder and warming up is triggering the camera. So it's literally taking thousands of pictures and burning the battery up. So I'm going to adjust the camera just a little bit. I'm going to switch the batteries, and I'm going to top this feeder off, but this feeder has not been getting hit super hard. There's a group of does that's on it pretty much day and night, but this one's out a ways from the timber, 300 yards to the timber edge here as I look at it anyway. So they're not, we've had a couple bucks on it, but this one hasn't become all that popular yet. This is the first year I've brought it out to this food plot. And the reason I did that, as you'll see as we get into February, March, I love to shed hunt. My family loves to shed hunt. I get my dad involved, my wife, and of course Delana. And I want to, we have the river as a barrier behind us, but I want to keep as many of them in a direction in our property and in our habitat as I can. And I felt like by putting this feeder out here, it's getting them to travel out here a little further. I used to have this one just inside the edge of the woods. This way they're traveling out here further, more of a chance for them to drop their antlers on our property where we can find them. So that's part of my reasoning on that. Also, out around this, there's no dense cover that a coyote can sit in, or fox for the pheasants, any of your predators to stalk up on them. They've got plenty of room around them here, and nothing can really sneak up on them, and they can use this feeder at their leisure. So we have one big tree right there, and that is where I hang the camera. And like I said, they didn't use this one much, so I don't really have to put a lot of feed in this, which is good, because when you get in a real cold spell in the winter, it can really, you can watch your checking account balance go down rather quick on the feed. So that being said, I'm going to get this topped off, and I'm going to switch the batteries. So one thing I started doing, I have a couple cameras that went down. Something went wrong with them, squirrel ate them, whatever. And I utilized the battery pack out of them. So now I've been loading a pack up with batteries. I'll pull this one, and I can reload that one at home in the garage where it's warm. I'm ready to go this way, and we're going to go ahead and get this camera rebatteried. So now I'll take this home, and we'll get it rebatteried there. And as I said, I wanted to adjust that camera a little bit. I've learned, this is my third year using the feeders. I've learned, and I can't believe I did it on this one, that you don't point it directly at the barrel drum of the feeder, because that feeder drum gets quite warm with the sunlight. So I just shifted it a little bit. You'll still catch the deer that go around it. You might not get the cool pictures of them with their face right in the trough, but it still works out good. You still see what's hitting them. So gonna go ahead, top this off. I'll spare you the footage on adding the bag. I can see in there I'm still about 3/4 full, so I'm just gonna add a little bit of corn to it and call it good, because I can see it's mixing in. Let me grab the camera. So I use Moultrie feeders. They're a great partner with Mossy Oak, and as you can see, there's the protein mix. It's got some pellets in there, and it's mixed with corn. There's some smashed down corn, and that's all the goodness right there. That's got vitamin E, minerals, and you can see I just shook it to get a little on the ground, but there's not a lot of residual just laying on the ground. They actually get really into it. And some stuff through the Fleet Farm that was just straight up deer mix, and it would pile up and pile up. You'd actually get a pile of mush on the ground. So they weren't really, for whatever reason, they really didn't like the flavor of it. So we're gonna go ahead and get this topped off, and then I've got another one on the food plot And we'll go ahead and finish this up this morning, Saturday, January 11th on the Edj Whitetails. Well, we've arrived at the food plot feeder. Now this one's been getting a lot of good pictures. Split G2 is on here. A couple other nice bucks have moved in and are hanging out with them. They're starting to bachelor group back up. The testosterone levels are falling. We're getting later on into winter. They'll be in bachelor groups from now until, you know, next September. So they're getting all grouped back up, and this feeder is all but empty. There was a little bit left in it, and on this Moultrie you can set the flow up and down by moving the boot up and down. I have found that they can still get a lot of good feed, and it's easier on my pocketbook to leave that boot most of the way up. It works out pretty good. And the cool part is here, this one's about probably 500 yards from the other one, and if this one does run out, it won't take them long to find that other one, the deer that are back in here. This one's like right centrally in the property. So gonna go ahead and get this one filled up. I have an older camera on the food plot here in my scramble during gun season to get these moved around. I'm gonna replace this camera and move this one. This one is almost dead too, as you can imagine, taking a ton of pictures. And I'm gonna get this out of the tree, get a new one in, get this filled up. So that's what we're up to today. As the off season continues now, we're gonna try and get some content to you at least once a week. If you missed any of the hunts throughout the year, every single hunt that we were on this fall, Delana or myself, is all documented on the Edj Whitetails as part of a daily journal. Morning hunts, evening hunts, we bring it to you within 15 minutes of leaving the stand. It's all very lightly edited, and that's the way we like to do it. That's kind of our deal. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up today. If you would, hit that subscribe button. The channel keeps slowly building. We appreciate that. And we're gonna have ourselves a great 2025, and we'll see you on the next episode, probably within a week or so, right here on the Edj Whitetails. And until next week, get outdoors.